the title, we're on episode 7 of the Cooking Chronicles. And today we will be making steak stew with carrots and potatoes and a nice little beef broth. And we'll be using a crock pot for this. So if you don't have a crock pot and you're just trying to make this regularly, I hate to break it to you, but this doesn't really work for you. So basically I learned this from, one of my coworkers.
He was like, Ethan, you should try using a crock pot, okay? To save you time, they make meals instantly, and you do many other things. And I was like, okay, let me hear them out.
So when I went shopping one day, as I'm getting, boom, got a crock pot. Boom, put some meat, some broth, some potatoes, some carrots, and my mind was blown that you could do stuff like that because I never really learned how to cook, okay? So in today's episode, I hope you guys like it and enjoy it, and honestly, let's just get right into this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell, we have all our ingredients set aside. So we got the stew meat lean. It's pretty good, so make sure you get some steak bits, or you can cut steak yourself. It's however you prefer. And then we also got small golden potatoes, which I use. And then lastly, we got carrots. Yummy, yummy carrots. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the potatoes. We're gonna start slicing them. Be careful with the knife, like I always say. Don't hurt yourself. So yeah, we're gonna just start slicing potatoes. Make sure you wash them before I wash these in the bag so they're all washed. So you'll just slice these in half and you'll literally toss them into your crock pot. Alright, so once you're done cutting the potatoes, I'd recommend start putting the stew meat as well on top so you can have it mixed in rather than, just potatoes and steak on top, and it can all have a nice juicy blend together. So literally just do this, and then I recommend grabbing a fork to use it, or you can use your hands, but for now I'm trying to avoid cross-contamination with the stuff, I guess. Okay, you know what, at this point I might as well just use my hands. Look, boom, boom. Make sure you wash your hands before this. I washed mine. All right, so now we got the steak on top, and then we'll get into the next part, which is literally just cutting more potatoes. But yeah, you're gonna want to cut these in half to, just get even cooking on each side, because if you cook them whole, it doesn't really cook it all the way through, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. You learn from your mistakes when you're cooking. Boom. We dump this on. As you can see, we have our meat and everything. We're gonna make sure it's all spread apart so it's evenly distributized or something. I don't know what they call it. Distribute it. Just like that, our whole thing's done. So now we move this away, we move this back. All right, so now we're gonna cut the carrots. Cutting the carrots is pretty simple, just slicing it. I don't like the top, so I usually cut off the top first. And then I'll try to cut off probably like this much so that, you don't have a whole lot of carrot. I'm not a big fan of carrots in my opinion, but to each their own. But yeah, basically you're just gonna be doing that. Boom. Boom. Now the portion size for this doesn't matter how big you cut it, but as long as you're getting it, properly cut, not too big. The bigger pieces are usually the scarier ones because you gotta cut into them. And just like that, we're done with our first carrot. Now I'm probably gonna speed through the rest of them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so next you'll want to grab your beef broth, preferably something like this. Swanson, I could recommend, I've always used their beef broth to make my stews, and it really adds the flavor. So let's get this opened up, and then we'll pour in the beef broth. Takes a moment to squeeze out like I squeezed out my mom. So now we have the beef broth basically emptied out. We can throw this away.
And then now you're gonna want a cup of water. So make sure you pour a cup of water so you can kind of like hydrate in. And then we'll push this around a little so that everything could get under the surface, because if it's over, it'll kind of dry out basically. So you gotta make sure everything's at least a little under. All right, so this next part is basically mixing spices together. So a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, and lastly garlic powder, which adds like a nice little garlicky taste to it. All right, so we put the garlic powder, but my phone storage got full, so I had to delete and transport some videos. So this is basically done. We just need to put it in the crock pot and we'll get right into that segment.
So if you're like me and you have a janky little crock pot, it will take a minute to get it set up. So just give me like a minute or so and I'll get this fixed, okay guys? Just hear me out. But yeah, you're gonna wanna put your bowl in there. Full of all the food. Stick it in there, boom. Look at that. And then put this top on. And then you got something that's gonna start cooking soon. So let's get to fixing that real quick.
Alright, so it's 4 in the morning and I just woke up right now. So we're gonna go and grab some of the stew and try it and give my honest opinion on it. Alright, let's see. Ooh, that looks good. When we take it out, it's gonna be very delicious. Alright, let's scoop some into my bowl. Alright, so let's try it and let's give our honest opinion on this. It is currently 3:49 in the morning. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so we're gonna try the stew. We're gonna see how it tastes and everything. A nice little 4 a.m. meal with the potatoes and the steak. So first up, we're gonna try the steak, see how it tastes and everything, and I'll let you know. Also, don't mind my bedhead. This is just how I look after sleeping. That's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. So next we're gonna try the potato. The steak is really good, it's cooked, it's nice and smooth I'd say, so it really hits the spot. And now we're gonna try the potato and see how that tastes. It's all cooked so well. Okay, that is pretty good. I like it. I could definitely added more seasoning, but it's whatever. So lastly, we have the carrots. And I'm not a big fan of carrots. I just put these in because I try to get more veggies into it, you know. We'll see how this tastes. That's just as smooth. Oh my gosh, that's so weird. Pretty hearty meal. I definitely put a little too much ingredients. I put a little too much broth, so it's a little smushy, but honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. It's still pretty good. It's not like a bad kind of smushy, you know? So if I had to rate the steak, it'd probably be like a 8 or 9 out of 10. It was nice and juicy. The potatoes, I definitely have to give also like an 8 or 9, as well as the carrot. It all just kind of like blended in well with the broth. Yeah, 4 a.m. thoughts. This was a nice, delicious meal at 4 a.m. So now let's go back to sleep. I'll give you guys my honest. I'll give you guys the food prices later in the day today. So I need to go back to sleep and get those next 2 hours of sleep before work. So I'll see you then. Thank you guys for joining me at 4 a.m. Feels weird to wake up at 4 a.m. I'll have to put the food in the little plastic thing.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So we're gonna be doing the price overview. I forgot I snuck into the freezer in Sam's Club, so honestly, let's just get this price overview done with. First up, we have the steak bits, which depending on how much you get, if it's just for yourself, $10. If it's, you know, bunch for like a whole week's worth of stew, around $20. All right. And then next we have the golden potatoes, the small ones. Those are around $4, but if you got 2 like I did, it'd be $8. And then next we have the carrots. The carrots, I usually just get like 1 bag, which is like $5. So put another $5 on there. And then next we have the beef broth, which is usually around like $5 to $6. And of course, you know, we have the salt, which is $1. We have the pepper, which is another $1. And then we have garlic powder, which is around $3. So the price of this meal would be around $38. All right. So not too expensive if, you know, you're planning on doing this meal for like, you know, a whole week-ish or for 3 or 4 days, because that's how long it usually lasts me, and that's including my sister too. She eats it every now and then. But yeah, this is probably gonna be one of the more expensive meals because, you know, it's a meal that you can have every day for a good week or so. Kind of worth the price, and you know, you're saving up on money rather than spending the $15 on Wendy's or McDonald's. I just want to thank y'all for tuning in, watching the video. Hope you have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, and night. This video was a blast to make. It was funny, you know, waking up at 4 a.m. wearing my my naughty shirt. Hope to see you guys in the next video. All right, peace out.